I met a gypsy.
There's like almost an element of that in Supercross. Like if you are prepared, like I'm sorry, Jet Lawrence is a fucking psycho. Jason Anderson is a fucking psycho. Like all of you guys are just psychopaths. Like to go fifth gear into a set of whoops, do it for 20 laps. Like the jumps are rutted, the rhythm sections are just insane. Like down to the concrete. Like nah, man. Like you're not okay. And like to expect that all of you guys are gonna be these like choir boys and not have that same gear when the after party comes and there's pussy floating around and there's fucking it's like you're a savage there and you're also a savage. Like it just we're the same fucking people, you know?
No, for sure. That's one thing. Like actually when you brought up the main events and stuff, like with the ruts and stuff, that's one thing I wish the fans could see more of, because they're always sitting on the side, right? But some of them are sitting up tall so you can see. I wish the TV showed more of a higher, I mean, I think they do now, but like they were doing it for outdoors where you can see the ruts and see how gnarly and technical it is, because like that's one thing in the 450 mains is the track just gets beat to shit and it's like deteriorated and it's gnarly. So like it's something that the fans need to see like how demanding it gets, you know. It's pretty gnarly.
Dude, oh man, I completely agree. Like I even said a few months ago, it's Casey Stoner's idea actually. Like he fully believes that we should make like a Supercross specific tire. That's like maybe it's not one brand makes it, so it's like a spec tire, but it's like you've got the knobbies on the middle of the tire can only be X amount high. You've got to have X amount of knobbies on the tire itself, and they can't be more than a certain distance apart. And then maybe like the side knobs, you can have whatever. But the tracks now, it seems like they're getting so much gnarlier than they ever did before. And like, that's the thing where you don't want to nerf Supercross to where it's like you're rolling around and it's not gnarly. Like it's kind of got to be gnarly and it always will be gnarly. But there's got to be, it's like the same thing with the training thing. It's like, all right, there's got to be a point where it's like, this is semi-safe for people to do, especially when you're asking them to do it for 17 rounds in a row.
No, it's like you kind of just brought up a point where I started laughing, was just like the bodies that got stacked in the whoops this year. Like there was a round at A2 where literally they just needed a conveyor belt straight to the Alpine Star medic unit. Like they just had to throw bodies on. There was a line to get on the medic cart, dude. Literally Jalik was in line. I think Jerry Robin was in line. Like those Hunter Lawrence A2, those whoops were eating riders up. And me and all the 450 boys are standing at the start line just watching riders grenade like there's fucking landmines on those things. And I'm like, dude, we got to go do 20 minutes of this. They're finishing their minute. We got 20 minutes to go through these things. Like the tracks was like the whoops were so gnarly this year. And like, I'll just never forget that race where like Joliet crashed, Jerry Robin, Moseman, Hunter Lawrence, like
Hunter.
Dude, there were so many guys. Like I don't even know what the medic unit dudes didn't even know what to do. They're like, fuck, which guy? It was not. Luckily, I think everyone stayed they were okay. But like the whoops was so gnarly this year. Like Christian was just demolishing everybody in those things.
Well, I think A3 was a gnarly set too, because I remember in the I might be wrong. Maybe it was A2 that I was thinking about.
All of the Anaheims were gnarly.
Well, I remember I was in Bali and I was watching the race with my chick, and she just doesn't know Supercross, not a thing where she comes from, and yeah, so no idea. And going through this race, and she's like, "Why can only two people do that?" And it was Eli and Ando were the only two people that were like actually like skimming the whoops, and she was just. It was so obvious to someone that's never watched a Supercross race that two people were only able to do this one thing, but there's 18 other guys out there. And it's like, Jason literally won that race. It was a 5-lap shootout between Jason and Eli to see who was down to send it through the whoops. And it only lasted 5. That race only lasted 5 laps. And Jason had the biggest fucking sack to just go, I'm doing it. And then there was just one lap where Eli was like, okay, cool, you win, bro. I'm not doing it. Like, there's one part of that that's gangster as fuck that as a fan you're just like, damn, like that's a gnarly dude right there.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best guy on this night. But then there's also a point where it's like, that's probably not cool.
Yeah, no, I raced that race. It was gnarly. I remember Cooper had fallen in the turn before, and I'm behind him. And then he gets up, and he was struggling with the whoops. He just, like, where he was possession, he just went around the whoops. Like, I was going to pass him. And then he went, I'm like, you motherfucker. And then he hops on right in front of me in front of the whoops. I was like, oh, I was pissed. It was funny. But, like, yeah, honestly, that race you're talking about, it was literally who... For us, it was like, if you were willing to, it was like a 50-50 shot. Like, if you're going to make it to the end, just because, like, they were so big, but they got so cupped and edgy. So, like, they just would pitch you anyway. And I skimmed them the whole main, but it wasn't pretty by any means.
So what's the move? Like, am I a dickhead for saying that there should maybe be some changes that try and just at least, we just can't be going to concrete. Like, let's have ruts, but let's not have ruts in
honestly,
rhythm sections.
Like,
that go
let's
to
just
concrete.
take out these 20-minute races. Let's just go 20 laps. Like, I don't think 20 laps is a lot. I don't think we need to be going close to 30 laps where we're like at 27 or 28. You know, this 20-minute thing is, I think, the past 3 or 4 years. And, like, just go back to 20 laps. Like, the racing was just as good at the 20, you know, when Bubba and Chad and all them are racing. Like, 20 laps is fine. You know, and 15 laps for the 250 as well. I think that's fine, and the track won't get as gnarly.
Yeah. So you don't think there's any need to, like, look at doing, like, make a Supercross tire, like a tire that's for that track, or?
I don't know. It sounds like something way down the line. I like my knobbies. I like my traction.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.